The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. This is just coming in and it's shocking and it's so interesting because people are making sure they continue to have their puppets in place, and at least maybe when they take them out they can help them to also have their way back in Niger. According to reports, are all in all the savior, the protector, the unifier, the messiah, the king of kings, the most loved, General Abdurrahman Tiani is receiving pressure from about 3,000 people who have signed so that Mohamed Bazoum will be taken out. Mohamed Bazoum was the president of Niger before our all in all, the savior, the protector, General Abdurrahman Tiani decided to take him out because we know under his leadership, nothing was happening in Niger. Niger was the most poorest country. Nothing was moving on well. Even though they have all this uranium and other natural resources, Nigerians were living in hardship. Even with the uranium that they're supposed to enjoy energy, they were still in darkness. And France was the one that was benefiting from everything that was in Niger, until our all in all decided to rise up to make sure they protect the lives of the Nigerians and to make sure everything that is in Niger benefits the people in Niger. So France is still not knowing peace. Now they are moving on to make sure that they put pressure through this puppet also to make sure that they release Mohamed Bazoum. When they tried using ECOWAS and it didn't work out, because we saw that they were putting pressure on our all-in-all General Abdurrahman Tiani to move away, and when everything failed, they decided to make sure that they tried to use other means in order to make sure that he is released, and all these things failed. So France, according to reports, has paid these 3,000 people to make sure that they put pressure on our all-in-all General Abdurrahman Tiani to release Mohamed Bazoum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Public for a new story. It is said that about 3,000 of them and former prime ministers of countries, different days hand, that are looking for Sanak's pay government and the wedding of former President Mohamed Bazoum. Then, and they call on the whole world that to protest for the release of the elected President Mohamed Bazoum. We question. I was the only one in Niger. President arrested and closed. Or Mohamed Bazoum Badouri. And why the Europeans insist that the man of Mohamed Bazoum was released by God. People, please let me tell you one word. Bazoum is like a bomb. In our Niger country, if you tie the leg, based on UGA this thing, you have tied your foot to him and it rises or less time. If you tie your foot against him, it will not rise, but you are lifting your strength. The release of the Bazoum for Niger is like a Nigerian bomb. He got up with ITA because Bazoum by with compassion. Bazoum, it is not compassion. He is a compassionate man to Hadima. He would have touched the hand that he was a servant. But why did this servant of God keep the palace while it is not there? How many are the ones signed by the presidents of the countries? Hands they made, surrender only God. There is something he is planning to do. And do you think that the SNSD government will listen to this? Talk or not to listen to him, or again, will release him, or she will not release him. I do not support him. He swears by his hand and says he is retiring.
Yes, I bring you guys this recent development. Over 3,000 people have signed a petition for the release of Mohamed Bazoum. Mohamed Bazoum is the deposed president of Niger that was deposed on July 26, 2023. You guys know that since then, he has been in detention and has not been released till now. So a petition has been signed by over 3,000 people including former ministers in Niger, demanding the release of this man. Yes, under the regime of Bazoum, a lot of things happened with Niger. For over 4 decades, Niger was continuously ranked as one of the poorest countries, despite having uranium, having gold, and other mineral resources. And now a petition is coming up that he should be released. Yes, that is what we have at hand. Over 3,000 people from Niger have signed this petition. It is launched by the collective liberation of Mohamed Bazoum. It's like a movement. It also has an online presence. And over 3,000 people have now signed that petition demanding for his release. Now, let's get back to what happened when Mohamed Bazoum was in power. For the years Mohamed Bazoum was in charge of Niger, the country was continuously ranked as one of the poorest nations in the World Economic Index for African classification. And if you look through, Niger had no motorable roads. The city capital of Niger, which was Niamey, never had tar roads. If you go to Quartier Francophonie, you go to Rond-Point Bar, Rond-Point Chinois, all these neighborhoods were neighborhoods in Niger, but there were no tar roads. And the capital of the country. But as we speak, if you go over to Niger, there have been a lot of improvement and development. Ask yourself, how come Niger suddenly became the talk of the day? How come Niger now, they talk about Niger like everywhere when it comes to uranium? How come when Niger took over the uranium from France, the price of uranium automatically changed in the world market? This is to signify that Niger has experienced a huge change when it comes to development and sovereignty of its soils, air, and otherwise. And now a group of people have come out requesting for the release of Mohamed Bazoum. But as we speak, the government of Niger has not yet released an official statement giving the way forward, if they're going to release him or he has to go through a court trial or something. As of now, he is still in detention and he has not been released. A lot of
breaking news, guys. This picture you're seeing here is Mohamed Bazoum, the former president of Niger, the man where Abdurrahman Tiani took over power from, you understand. So since Tiani take power from this man now, Tiani carry him put for prison inside presidential palace. He did there since 2023. So since then now, France don't they give ultimatum, they press, make they release him, you understand. So they say France now can sponsor about 3,000 petitions to international communities, so that international communities will help France to pressure Rahman Tiani government to release Mohamed Bazoum, the former president of Niger. So I think say France, I think say when I get power before, no, you people should have invaded Niger now and go and release him, or you people should have sanctioned Niger. Abi una sanction when they work for where Niger there again. Hey, yeah, chai Macron, your power not reach there again. you see how life they be. If you say at that time now, just you will not do phone call, say do this one for Niger, they go do them, carry uranium come, they go carry gold come, they go carry come. You understand? It's no longer like that. Yes, it's no longer like that. No, Niger is not answerable to France. By now, France for don't tell their Oga tariff US, say may they do something, may they invade, may they sanction. But now these guys are building their country independently. I'm telling you, without Western spin. There is no Western attachment in their development. So you cannot say, if you did not release Bazoum now, we will give you sanction upon sanction upon sanction. There is no sanction. No, those guys are not smiling. They're not smiling. Nonsense.
But we know that with our all General Abdurrahman Tiani, these things don't shake him. because all that he's bent on doing is to make sure we see a better Niger, a liberated Niger, because under his leadership within these 2 years that he has come into office, we've seen that Niger economy is booming. We've seen that France Orano company is crying, and everything that they are trying to do isn't helping. So maybe they think that if they bring Mohamed Bazoum out of wherever he is, they can have upper hand to make sure they can still use him in order to cause certain things, because maybe being the president of Niger, he knows his ways out. But I don't think that they will ever get it, because there's no amount of pressure that will be mounted on our all in all that will allow him to release Mohamed Bazoum. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Why is France now trying to use other ways? Because we know France to be the so-called whatever of Africa, that they think that they can just use sanctions, they can just invade any nation to have their way. So why is it that they are trying to use these ways? Because all the things that they did best did not work out. So maybe they think that if these 3,000 people should sign and claim that they are activists, they are whatever, you know how they always come out with human rights things when it has to do with the oppressor benefiting. But anything that benefits the African do not have anything called human rights, because under the watch of these activists, we've seen that our resources were taken out of the continent. We were sleeping in darkness, yet France was enjoying light 24/7. And these same people didn't come out to advocate for the African to have total control over the resources, to the point that we can even benefit from the energy sector. But anything that has to do with the oppressor, you see these hypocrites coming out claiming that they are fighting for who? Mohamed Bazoum, under his leadership, we saw the hardship, the poverty, the suffering of the Nigerians. Yet these people were nowhere to be found. They never came out to fight for the Nigerians, so that at least the resources that they have on their land will be used to benefit the people. But because it has to do with the oppressor having influence, but this is no longer the Africa that they used to know. As long as these leaders are making sure that we don't progress, anytime we get any of them out of the way, the person must continue to be there forever and ever. Is it not the same France that just imprisoned their ex-president? They said he was the same person who, under the regime of Muammar Gaddafi, deceived Muammar Gaddafi, took some money, and also unalived him. Aside that, they said he did a lot of things in France, so for that matter, they need to keep him somewhere. So why are we also keeping a president who was here doing nothing and making sure that we continue to lose? Because under his leadership, uranium was being sold to France 0.80. Is it not bad? Now we have a leader who is selling the same uranium for 200 euros per a kilo. And now we are seeing development in Niger, yet these people are saying that we need to release Mohamed Bazoum. For what reason? Mohamed Bazoum is in Africa, and we, the people in Niger, our voices are more than just these 3,000 puppets who are not ready to see the progress of their country and are bent on making sure they continue to suffer even with their generation for other people to enjoy. We will continue to fight to make sure Mohamed Bazoum, where he is, at least he's fine. We are taking good care of him, and he is on his soil. So why should he be released? From where and to where? And for what reason should he be released? We need to have answers from these people. He should be released that under his regime, nothing was moving on well in Niger. Or under his regime, Niger was having a lot of uranium, yet they were sleeping. Like, what is the basis of this signatures from these people that they need this man to be released? To go and do what? We are the ones that always make things easier for these people. The way they can manipulate us, we can never go and manipulate them this way. And always they have their way through the African, because the Africans still believe that we are inferior, and always we need to act in the interest of these people. But this is a new Africa, And before anybody thinks that they can come out to make some claims in order to favor whatever, they should look at the bigger picture, because millions of us are supporting our all in all. That is the most important thing. So just a handful of you cannot take decision for the millions. And that is what we all should understand. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make African great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world in Africa, West Africa, and in Niger.